Four-wheelers are, you need larger batteries. People expect that my four-wheeler, I should be able to take interstate and therefore it should run 300-400 kilometers. Two-wheelers mein log khush hain, 100 kilometer ki range mil jati, which means you have a smaller battery.
I know, and also being in Delhi, there's a lot of focus in the policy has been on two-wheelers and three-wheelers, right? So if you quickly explain the reasons for it. There are multiple, I think there's the social factor, there's also kind of economic viability, many things, but you can just, why did you decide to focus karte hain, four-wheeler ko baad mein dekhenge?
Yeah, see, two primary factors. As I said that our motivation was pollution, and second, we set a numbers target that 25% of this thing. Now, it's very interesting that normally the moment you talk about electric vehicles in the West, it's all cars. Wahan pe two-wheelers, three-wheelers ki zyada baatein nahi hoti. Everything is adopted, everyone has moved to cars. In the case of Delhi, when you look at the pollution profile of Delhi, close to 50% of the entire vehicular pollution of Delhi is two and three-wheelers. And this is very important to know. And once you understand what is the total vehicular stock in Delhi, it's not surprising. Out of the total, there are more than 1 crore vehicles plying on Delhi. They're registered in Delhi. 67 to 70% of them are two and three-wheelers.
So two-thirds of the number-wise, two-thirds are kind of two-wheelers and three-wheelers, and half of the
pollution is
coming from...
Yes, around 45 to 50% is two-wheelers and three-wheelers. Another 30% is trucks, for which we have peripheral expressways, and there are other strategies. It's the only remaining 20% which is cars, buses, all other kinds of vehicles and stuff. And this is very important to understand, because if you have to, obviously, therefore, the disproportionate impact or the focus needs to be on two-wheelers. So it was out of our own self-interest that hame pollution kam karna tha. Now it incidentally happened so that there is, for any technology, you cannot push it against market forces. Let's be real. Subsidies are effective on the margin. When you know that there is a basic sense for economic viability, and maybe 4-5 saal agar wait karo to economic viability ho jayegi. But you can advance that shift by targeting your subsidy. It happens so that for two-wheelers and three-wheelers, the economic viability of EVs was far better than for four-wheelers. Okay, because four-wheelers are, you need larger batteries. People expect that my four-wheeler, I should be able to take interstate and therefore it should run 300-400 kilometers. Two-wheelers mein log khush hain, 100 kilometer ki range mil jati, which means you have a smaller battery, smaller.
What is the economics of two-wheeler, EV two-wheeler, if you could quickly...
No, so...
if you buy a normal one versus the EV and then the ongoing running cost.
See, first of all, today, after the shift towards BS6 petrol and diesel standards, so two-wheelers is largely petrol, the capital cost of an electric two-wheeler and a petrol two-wheeler is more or less the same.
And this is without subsidy or with the subsidy?
This is with the subsidy.
With the subsidy?
With the subsidy, whatever the current existing subsidy is, maybe a little higher in other states, but in Delhi, it's become the same. Okay, so capital, there's nothing to change. But if you look at the running cost is where you, and I think that is why I usually tell my friends that you'll be foolish today if you're buying a petrol two-wheeler. It's only your ability not to understand what's happening. Because आप देख लीजिए एक petrol two-wheeler. Let's just talk numbers, right? 100 रुपए लीटर का पेट्रोल बिक रहा है, ठीक है? A good two-wheeler petrol कितना देगी, as they say in ads, 50 किलोमीटर देगी, let's say. So you're spending how much? 2 rupees you're spending for 1 kilometer of running cost. हम maintenance जोड़ भी नहीं रहे हैं, बस इतना मोटा करते हैं. Now, as far as an electric two-wheeler is concerned, normally it's a 3 kilowatt battery and that will give you around, let's say 60 kilometers. So 20 kilometers per kilowatt आपको मिल रहा है. एक यूनिट का क्या पावर है? Delhi, by the way, has the cheapest EV tariff in the country at around, let's say 5 rupees. तो 5 रुपए में आप 20 किलोमीटर जा पा रहे हो, मतलब 25 पैसा प्रति किलोमीटर. So roughly we're talking 10x, 8 to 10 times. It's a simple math. I don't need to...
Essentially, you're saying it's a no-brainer today to kind of get an EV two-wheeler in Delhi versus a petrol wala. This thing. There's absolutely no reason for why somebody would do that. And that you have kind of... Some of it, technology has kind of moved forward. You provide the subsidy so that upfront investment is the same, and then ongoing to a difference that is a very... And you're saying volume there was bigger, the contribution to pollution was bigger, and therefore you said कि इस पे focus करते हैं, and it's kind of...
Right. And at the margin, at the margin, because what happens is, the moment the Indian market is very price sensitive. So even if there's a 10,000 rupees gap, अगर मुझे 60,000 में petrol 2-wheeler मिल रहा है, why will I take a 80-85,000? You will not think about कि नहीं मेरे 4 साल की running cost हो गया.
And that's where policy comes in to kind of see ठीक है थोड़ा सा gap है इसको पूरा कर देते हैं.
Exactly. So it's a nudge that you need to give. So we said कि नहीं हम तो 70 से भी कम ले जाने की कोशिश करेंगे. तो 65 to 70 में आज अच्छा सा पेट्रोल इलेक्ट्रिक 2-wheeler मिल जाएगा, 70 के में आपको पेट्रोल मिल रहा है. So
it's a win-win. मतलब there's no reason left for consumer.
Absolutely, and that is the reason we have moved from 1,000 to 35,000. The other number that I wanted to give you, that even for cars, okay, there were 500 electric cars that were sold in Delhi in the year 2019. In 2022, it is 5,500, almost 11 to 12.
Cars में when will this economics add up? I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, कि capital cost अभी भी ज़्यादा है गाड़ी का अगर आप electric लेते हैं. But if you run the car a lot, it depends on the usage कितना है. अगर आपको usage बहुत है, then you may make up for this upfront investment through the savings through petrol wala versus that electric, right?
That's precisely the point. And I'll give you one more statistic. I mean, at the end of the day, the reality is all there in the numbers, 50% as far as private cars is concerned, maybe in the last year of all the private cars sold, 5% would have been electric cars. But when you talk about cabs, commercial car fleets, 50% of all cars sold in Delhi, cabs, have been electric. And it's a staggering number. No other city in India is seeing this. 1 out of every 2 is electric. And the reason is exactly that. Commercial गाड़ी 200 किलोमीटर daily minimum चलती है, 200-250 किलोमीटर, and you see the savings when you run for 200. So I think somewhere, interestingly remarked that if you're
फर्क रहता है, upfront it will be what, 1.5x, 1.5?
Roughly 1.5.
Roughly 1.5, and there you kind of, if you're running for 200.
And I tell you, the challenge is also because the market has not matured. Unlike, as I said, 2-wheelers, there is a lot of numbers, the price parity is there. You see a lot more models, a lot more manufacturers in the play. यहाँ पे electric में you still at the cheaper end. Now a few manufacturers like Tata and I think MG has a cheaper car, but the cheaper car market hasn't taken off.
Got it.
The SUV market has really taken off, and you will see a lot of those applying.
So when you see this, in how many years do you see a trend that you're seeing in 2-wheelers to actually at the same pace happen on the 4-wheeler front also?
I think given also where we are as an Indian society economically, I think unless we are able to break through the sub 10 lakh and even have some models around 5 to 6 lakh cars, because right now there is no comparison. You can start a good EV, even a basic EV will be 8 lakh to 10 lakhs. And you're talking only above. My sense is maybe another 3 to 5 years at least. And it's also dependent upon how the global battery prices trend and stuff. But I think 2-wheelers and 3-wheelers, Delhi has shown it that the time has not arrived. The time arrived 3 years back. We jumped on it, and Delhi has today shown that this is already happening in Delhi, and it can happen anywhere else in India.